I want to open up by addressing the elephant in the room, which is I made a couple very difficult decisions over the weekend regarding the future of our program. With Ed Warner, him and I have a long history together. I consider him a friend, a heck of a coach. And as the season progressed, we often talked about the offensive line, but also his professional plans for the future. And when it became clear that he was going to, explore his options, whatever those might be for him, I think we both agreed that now would be the best time so that we can start to search for his replacement. But he's been a great friend and is a heck of a coach. On the other side of the ball, I felt that due to the decline in production and lack of improvement, that where we were headed was not where I had envisioned for the future identity of our defense, and so a change was needed. I realized that most areas of our team have fallen short of standards up until this point, but I'll be continuing to evaluate and assess those areas as well. And lastly, I've always prescribed to the saying that emotion is the enemy of great decision making, and this was not an emotional decision. It was very difficult when you put emotions into it, because I have a ton of respect for both of these men. I think Rock is a really, really good man, a good coach. He's well liked by players, well liked in the community. But when looking objectively at the data, both this season and historically, we're ranked one of the worst defenses in the country in some very important statistical categories, and unfortunately, we were trending in the wrong direction. And so we need to create a new identity. I'm excited for Brandon and for the defensive players these next 3 weeks to get a shot. Again, we're not going to, all of a sudden roll out in a 3-3 stack or anything like that, but I think it's going to be good to see his personality maybe be infused a little bit. And then, I do want to thank my support staff, and most importantly, Brian White, and the key supporters of this program. When we took this job, it was, an average Conference USA job, and or an average Conference USA program, I should say. And we made a pretty big jump, but the great thing is that there's alignment at the top, and I love that about coming to work every day, is that we understood when we made this decision that there would be some eggs probably cracked along the way of making this great omelet, but we love it here, and we really, really want to build this thing into something sustainable, and something that isn't just a flash in the pan for a year or 2 years and goes away. And in order to do that, it takes time. So again, moving on from that, our players obviously were upset at first. I would be dishonest if I told you they had really good relationships with those guys, but I think they also understand that the definition of insanity is repeatedly performing the same act, expecting different results, and that we needed some change. And I thought, timing-wise, that it would not. You're going to see a lot of coaches wait until after signing day to make changes on their staff. You might even see some wait all the way until the start of the January semester when they get their transfers fully enrolled in class, and then make decisions. And so what I told the players and what I told the recruits is, like any other job, if we go out and win 11 games next year, there's a good chance we're going to be replacing coaches next year as well, but for a different reason. And so we've moved on the play. I thought the last 2 days we had a lot more energy than obviously the Sunday team meeting. And I think our players have watched enough film and understand that we've got a winnable game ahead of us, and we've got to get in that foxhole together and insulate ourselves from some of the adversity that's around us.
Coach, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the positions that you have now, with the exception of Brandon. Do you anticipate that this core that you still have remaining will be here, provided they don't receive other opportunities to go elsewhere?
Oh, we're constantly evaluating, and I felt that these two decisions were needed now, okay. Both for a little bit of different circumstances, but I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that I'm constantly evaluating and seeing areas that we can improve, and most of the time it's not the people, it's the
data,
it's the function, yeah, right? It's the machine, you
And was it like this week, was it like a process where you're evaluating your entire staff, or was it just the positions where you ended up making a change?
No, I the entire staff.
You obviously picked Brandon, Jordan, and Kyle to kind of take over those spots. What factored into the decision to pick them specifically?
Well, I've been impressed with Brandon my entire time working with him. He's very detailed. He's an excellent DBs coach. The kids, they don't just like him, they respect him, and those are two things that are hard to have as coaches. There's a lot of coaches that are respected and not liked. There's a lot of coaches that are not liked, or that are liked but not respected, and he's got both. And he's got a really good football mind, and he's got great energy about him. I think the thing that is going to be exciting for our defensive players is, his positivity, his belief in them, and quite frankly, he's the one that kind of knows the defense the best, being a co-defensive coordinator. He kind of knows how all the parts fit together the best. And then Jordan Helm, was a young guy that I actually interviewed for the full-time job that we had last year, and so he's basically a full-time, and now that everybody can coach, Jordan coaches our nickels every day out there. So I don't know what his title is, I don't get into those, but Jordan's been a full-time coach basically for this whole season. He'll just switch from nickels now to linebackers. And then Kyle Chung has proven himself as the offensive line assistant, basically, that he's extremely knowledgeable. The players respect him. He's got a great resume as a player himself, and although he's young, he's very knowledgeable. And Coach Fry has been doing a good job of kind of meeting with the O-line a little bit more than maybe we have in the past.
Mm-hmm. And moving on from that, I want to talk about the QB situation a little bit. Obviously, Cam suffers the injury against DCU. Is Kasen the starter the rest of the way now?
Kasen's a starter this week. I can't predict the future. I can't even tell you if he's going to get hurt tomorrow. So he's the planned starter this week, and I would imagine. He's had a good couple days. He'll play well, and barring some kind of catastrophe, I would think your statement is accurate, but I don't want to stamp it.
Cam's done for the year, right?
Oh yeah. You see the X-ray, it's not good.
Yeah, I had one.
I will tell you this though, and I don't know if Cam watches, but I've told him this. The doctors have told him this. If you're a thrower, a pitcher, a quarterback, there's a myriad of injuries that you can have to your throwing shoulder, and probably breaking your clavicle is the best one, right? Because the rotator cuff is fine. The labrum, so the ligaments that hold the socket in place, that is fine. And so basically it was a nasty break. I don't want to say clean break, because it was in, I think the doctor said 4 different pieces. in there. But they put the necessary screws, pins, all that, and they say in 4 or 5 months he'll be throwing again. And again, that I've always said bones heal. You know, it's the muscles and ligaments that are usually the boogers.
Yeah, obviously Kasen's gotten some time in a couple games this season. Have you liked what you've seen so far from him? Or?
Absolutely, yeah. I thought, you know, against Wagner, I was so impressed by his ability to recover. I think is probably the best word from the start that he had through his college career. And then, you know, just impressed with his toughness. He didn't do everything right by any stretch, and it was definitely up and down, but the good thing was there were more ups than downs, and he didn't make the same mistake twice. And so there was a lot of hope there and a lot of belief in him and what he can do.
Yeah, you mentioned, you know, the start to his college career and all that. Do you think he's ready for his first start coming up this week?
Oh yeah, I think that's starting the game. Maybe gets overblown. I've never understood. You know, he's got so and so this many consecutive starts. Well, what if he's a H receiver and you started the game? Your first game was in 13 personnel and he was on the sideline. Does that mean he's not a starter anymore? You know, so. I forget where we were going with that, but
Yeah, just like, you know, is he ready for the?
oh, ready to start? Yeah, so I don't think starting the game is any different than, you know, when he came in and had to play the 3 quarters that he did. So I think he'll be fine.
I kind of asked Kasen the same question. Is it to his advantage, you think, that he's going into his first start, he's already been like thrown into the fire twice now?
Absolutely, yeah. To have that kind of experience going into then, what is technically your first start, although you played whatever it is, 7 quarters of football for FAU, it is still technically your first start. But yeah, I think he's got plenty of that experience under his belt to not really feel like it's a first game.
Are you liking what you've seen from him from a decision-making standpoint? I'm going to kind of say the same thing he said. I asked him this question, but his read efficiency, watching him, no knock on Cam, but Cam seems to lean more towards his legs, and Kasen likes his arm. And the way he was checking down, it just looked like he'd been out there longer than, like he mentioned a couple times in previous games. I mean, he was out there and he was doing his thing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I liked about Kasen when we were recruiting him. He may not know this or not, but I asked some very scripted questions to quarterbacks when I'm recruiting them, and by the way he answered, you could tell that football made sense to him. Like there's guys that can learn plays, and there's guys where it just the whole picture just kind of makes sense, and he's one of those guys, and so. He is able to kind of process maybe a little bit faster than some that I've been around. Now he'll be the first to tell you he missed a bunch too now, and we want him to be perfect, and he wasn't. But like I said, many more ups than downs as far as his play was concerned.
And my main goal coming into here was just to get developed, because last year at my last school, I feel like I really didn't get developed. I kind of feel like I'm still a freshman. I didn't move up in a way. So that was my main goal going into here, but I felt pretty confident last Thursday with my craft and what the coaches have helped me get to.
It seemed like a physical game. First Cam goes down, and then you come in, and not too many plays later, you go down again. Was it, oh no, this is my chance, and what's happened, or did you know you were going to be fine?
No, I knew I was going to be fine. I sprained my ankle 2 weeks before at UTSA, so it wasn't fully healed. He landed on it weirdly. I got up, it hurt really bad. When I got the sideline, the trainers looked at it, I was like, I'm good to go.
Kasen, now that you've been kind of like she said, thrown into the fire twice now, do you feel more prepared going into this week?
Oh yeah, totally. Like when I went into the East Carolina game, everything definitely felt a lot more slow. From like the Wagner game when I got put in, everything was moving really, really fast, but everything slowed down last Thursday.
And it's a lot of adversity this season, especially like this week. How have you seen the locker room kind of handle that
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be changes and stuff like that within programs. You know, the kids all really are sticking together. You know, trying to finish this year strong and just keep going.
So I've noticed that your leadership style is a little different than Cam's, which is not a knock, it's just an observation. You seem to be, especially on the sidelines, I saw, you know, a lot of animation towards the end of last game, even though it was kind of out of hand. Do you think the guys are feeding off of that? And is that something that you really look to try to set as far as a tone for the remainder of the game, since you're probably going to be the guy that's called each week?
Yeah, I've always been a pretty vocal guy. That's for them to answer if they respond to that or not. But that's just, I've always been a vocal leader. That's just how I was raised.
Piggybacking off of his question, one thing, and I mentioned it at the end of the game the other night, it was almost not only did you have to pick your game up, but the wide receivers and Jamari Sands' catch really seemed to support your efforts. What have you seen from the offensive or the wide receivers this week in practice?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're going to spread the ball around. I think every receiver last week may have touched the ball. I don't know, I think that was the first for the season. So we definitely spread the ball around. Everyone's happy. You know, everyone's excited to be out there this week and just trying to go 3-0.
Looking at your body of work, you know, the few opportunities you've had this season, you know, what do you think you've done the best and what can you improve upon, you know, going into these last couple games?
I'd probably say improvise and making plays. I've done a solid job at, but I just got to get more comfortable sitting in the pocket. You know, realizing how fast the game is now, making my reads faster. The windows are a lot smaller than high school and stuff like that.
So in regards to that, I noticed that you seem to be checking down really quick. Whereas Cam might have been a little bit more of a run-first guy, you seem to be more of a pass-first guy.
Mm-hmm.
And your head is moving quick, and you know, and you're getting rid of the ball fast. Is that something that's deliberate?
I mean, just Herman and Fry talked to me. They're like, look, over the whole year, they've dropped the flats in the back a lot of mostly all the teams we played. So like, you don't got to be Superman with your legs. Just hit the check down and let the playmakers go make a play.
Anybody else?
I want to pay a lot of homage to our coaches, Coach Helm, Coach Gipp, and Coach Harris. They really helped me prepare and make sure that like I was on the right track. And my teammates, the seniors, the older guys, you know, really helping me, leading the way, and showing me how things are done, how things are supposed to go. You know what I mean? Those guys really helped me a lot, just helping me stay focused, keep my head up, keep working. Yeah.
How much, or can you put a number on how the game has slowed down from you from the first game to last game?
Yeah, it slowed down a bunch, even from like first practice, like just seeing how the speed is, you know, going back, watching film, studying, that really helps, like just knowing tendencies, what the offense likes to do, it helps slow the game down a lot.
Questions?
Coach Rock obviously was let go over the weekend. Could you just tell me a little bit about what he meant to you, both as a player and as a person?
Yeah, in the little time that I've known Coach Rock, he's been very impactful and influential on me. He's taught me a lot, gave me a lot of wisdom and knowledge. So it hurts seeing him go, but you know, we just gotta focus on what we have here.
Mm-hmm. Do you expect, you know, this to cause any sort of distractions among the guys, or have everybody kind of moved on? What has Coach Harris kind of said to kind of push, you know, things forward?
Coach Harris has talked a lot about honoring Coach Rock and how we play, and you know, just being like honoring him, how we play, how we study, how we prepare, and that's something Coach Rock always preaches too. So we really want to honor him and how we play. So I don't think it'll be a distraction.
Anyone else? Going into this weekend, what's the main focus or the obstacles that you guys see?
Our main focus is really preparing and being focused on our inner circle. You know what I mean? Not letting the outside noise get to us. Just really focusing on the team, focusing on getting better, and finishing strong.